Hello and welcome to Tactical Maneuvers version 5. This is the Federation faction intro. Now, the Federation on the surface are very similar to the Dominion. They don't have cloaking, they have relatively standard economies and shipbuilding. However, all of the details are different. So, once you actually engage with the two factions, you'll find that the strategies that you use, while they might feel a little similar, the actual things that you're doing with the ships are often very different. And just the way that the ships themselves play can be very different. Now, if you were going to start learning this game, the Borg are probably the best way to learn, small ship control on a small level, because you can build with one or two spheres and have that be all you need. And then that lets you really, learn how to fly the ships at your own pace. The Federation, on the other hand, have the simplest economy. And they're probably the second most forgiving race for ship control. Because unlike the Dominion, the Federation faction have higher defense on their ships and lower offense, which just makes it easier to get individual ships in and out of combat, get them back to repair, and keep your fleet alive and growing. And because the Federation fleet has lower offense, they tend to have they're not so good at killing anything early on. But their goal is to get a huge, overwhelming number of ships, and with those ships, become unstoppable, basically.
Confirmed, Starfleet.
So because I cannot turn my constructors into miners, I went ahead, I queued up 8 miners at the beginning, and I'm only going to have one constructor go to my expansion. I am going Tritanium because big map, and teching up relatively early. I'm not going to be doing a lot of early raiding here. Now, the Federation have their shipyards, and where the Dominion would upgrade their individual shipyards to higher levels, the Federation just have relatively inexpensive shipyards, and then they get chassis level research at their Starfleet engineering, and that unlocks more powerful Federation ships.
You got it.
This has the interesting effect that, for example, if they were to lose their shipyards, the Federation would lose a whole lot less than the Dominion would, because the Dominion have put all of their money into that shipyard upgrade, whereas the Federation have it in research, which you can't lose the research. So, as you saw here, I went 2 mining stations, then first constructor to finish went ahead and built a Starfleet engineering. Second one went to the expansion. I actually have to stop that guy from going home, and I'm going to go, we'll actually have you mine Tritanium here. And we'll just have these next 2 go for the dilithium moon.
Complete.
Proceed.
Starship complete.
That is a logical request.
There we go. So, there are a lot of ships that I'm skipping over this time around. Just because I have a build in mind, and that build is Akira Galaxy. 350.
Starship complete.
There we go.
Enemy engaged.
And because I am investing so much into economy and technology, I'm not going to have any ships for a little while with this particular build. But that's okay. So the strategy I'm going for, the Akira and the Galaxy are both chassis level 2 ships, which means I need to get the second level of this research before I even build any ships. And we'll probably put the Irati Yard over at the other side, and then we will even get a Starfleet Science, followed by Starfleet Command, so that we can start calling in those sweet, sweet Federation warpins. So quick overview, the early game ships, you can build a Sabre or a Monsoon without any chassis levels at all. So if you were rushing, you would build the Antares Yard before the Starfleet engineering, and you would get these ships. The Sabre is a long-range ship that gets a damage bonus to slow ships, which includes miners and constructors. So if the enemy was building, if they were trying to build a mining station or a yard super far forward, you could use Sabres to shut them down. The Monsoon it's a kind of low stats, but it has very high... It's very fast, and it has a defense bonus against long range, which includes most turrets and star bases. So it's very good for situations where you have to go under starbase fire early on. Let's see, we've got the chassis level going. Let's go ahead and... No, we'll save, because we're going to need the Irati Yard.
The cargo base.
In
That is a
fact,
logical request.
Irati Yard takes 1,000. There it
Lay the
goes.
course.
Enemy
So
engaged.
the other, once you have chested level 1, you get access to the Intrepid and the Canaveral. The Intrepid is a short-range fast ship that has resistance to medium-range enemies, which makes it's a very effective response to a lot of early game strategies.
Acknowledged.
For example, like Romulan Generics or Borg adapters or Borg spheres. The Intrepid is just very effective because it can get in and out very quickly, so it can actually survive and go repair. And it can also... Its damage isn't super high, but once they build up, they can be a very effective fighting ship. And then the Canaveral is a long-range ship that deals bonus damage to short range, and it's currently in development, so it has a special weapon that it is missing, and
Enemy
but it is very effective. Both the Saber and the Canaveral are significantly stronger than they were in fleet operations, and they really are meant to serve as counters to certain enemy ships that you might be facing. But, as I mentioned, we're going all the way to chest level 2, which is the Akira class. And the Akira class is a slow-moving, tanky ship. It has torpedo weaponry. It's worth mentioning a lot of Federation ships have torpedo weaponry, which means they do less damage to small targets and more damage to large targets. And this can be very effective because even if you're fighting small ships in the early game and you're at a disadvantage, your opponent eventually wants to switch to big ships. And so, by getting torpedo ships early, and they are beam torpedoes, so they're not useless against small ships, but
station construction.
by getting them early, it means that you're already ready for what your opponent does next. And by the time they get their large ships, you already have torpedo weapons to counter them. So, the Akira has a somewhat unique trait. It has multi-targeting torpedoes. It fires 2 torpedoes at separate targets. And as mentioned with the Borg, this means that they take... Each shot is 70% of the damage based on its offensive value. So even though it has 25 offense listed, it actually is probably more like 32 or 33. However, it's divided among several targets, which means it's not so good at killing things early or when there's a small number of Akiras. It just, because every single ship has shield regeneration, like for example here, fighting this one Saber, this ship has less damage than normal. I mean, the Starbase is going to kill it, but it has less damage than normal because it would be shooting at 2 targets, but there aren't 2 targets here. I will go ahead and get the economy upgrade for the Starbase, which requires Starfleet Science. That just gives them supply over time. It's a very simple but effective one. And we will go ahead and get the Starfleet Command, which is the special station for the Federation. And this, similar to the Dominion, this calls in warp-ins. Unlike the Dominion, you don't call in a massive fleet all at once for a huge chunk of supply. The Starfleet Command can call in every 2 minutes, and it only calls in a few ships each time. But it is a steady way to spend your supply. I'm also going to research the defensive pattern special for the Akira, which gives it increased shield and hull regeneration for a little while.
Alter course.
On the Irati Yard, you have the Excelsior II, which is a slow, long-range ship. It's very risky to build these early because they're so slow. If they move out away from the base, they're very vulnerable to getting caught and killed because they can't make it back to repair.
Complete.
But later on, if you have a large number of them, they can become incredibly deadly. You have the Remor, which is a fast support ship, which has a special ability that does tons of damage to a single target. So the Remor is very effective for hunting single target enemies. And then you have the Galaxy. The Galaxy requires chassis level 2, and it is a command ship. It also, similar to the Galaxy, similar to the Akira, it has multi-targeting torpedoes. So its torpedoes shoot at 3 targets, dealing 50% damage each for a total of 150. So once again, these ships do more damage overall than normal ships. But because it's spread out over the fleet and they're recovering their shields, it means that they're not as effective. Let's go ahead and call in our first Warpin. It's not as effective until you have a bunch of ships, until you have overwhelming firepower. And once you do have overwhelming firepower, it's overwhelming. I'm going to go ahead and get experimental.
Course.
Enemy engaged.
That is my scout. Oh, my scout is dead. Maybe? Nope, sweet.
Station construction.
We need to get...
Research commenced.
There's a technology for scouts. Scouts are the cloak detect of the Federation. It's Shift S for that, and I'm going to go ahead and queue up a second scout.
Alter course.
And here are my Warpin reinforcements. When you call in Warpins, the center ship will always be a command ship. Oh, I might be missing a texture for that thing.
Complete.
I need to look into that. When I grabbed Drazon's textures, I may not have caught one for that thing. I will go fix that.
Armed and
So, your Federation Warpins, because they call them in so fast and they're not that expensive on supplies, they actually take up slots. A little bit similar to the Borg Vinculums, except they're much more numbers. So, every technology station adds one slot. I'll add these to the tooltips, but every yard adds 2 slots, and every command ship, including the Galaxy, adds 1 slot.
alter course.
So for every command ship, for every galaxy I build, well, I guess you could say for every 4 galaxies I build, I can call in a standard Warpin. And so this particular build that we're doing today
Construction.
gets quite a lot. Oh, gotta load textures. And the AI are actually bullying my friend. So let's head over there and take a look at that. And we will be getting Dominion Tech. Now, part of the reason that I am doing this build is because both the Galaxy and the Akira synergize together very well. They both have the multi-targeting torpedoes, so they both really are depending on getting a huge fed ball. They also both have Dominion mixed tech options. So once I get this Dominion tech, they will become troop ships, and then they will also get additional torpedo launchers, which means more damage to large and also more spreading of their shots. So they basically become more focused on the role that they're already doing. Oh, I didn't bring my scout with me, so I'm not going to be able to cloak detect that guy. Oh.
Helm. New course heading.
Kill it. Nope. Let's go kill these guys. So you may notice I've got all my yards set to Control Group 1, which means every ship that builds from them goes into Control Group 1.
New course heading.
I'm going to set my Starfleet Command is Control Group 0. Hotkey W for a Warpin. And I still have plenty of slots available.
Status report.
And we're going to go and try to wreck these sabers.
Engaged.
And you're going to go repair. At your allies' repair yard. Is that the... Okay, that's my friend. And my Warpin has arrived. Didn't stand a chance.
Alert the crew.
Another thing I'm doing quite a lot with this fleet is I'm using shift-click commands. So when you shift and click, it's a waypoint, and if you hold down shift and do more, you'll get multiple waypoints. But if you just do it once, the advantage of this is it doesn't order them to move in formation. Normally when you click, the ships will spread out into their formation, and I'm actually going to modify the formations in the next version, so they're going to be a bit more vertical. Some of these ships will actually stack up on top of each other vertically.
Research
But
complete.
for now, they spread out. But if you do a shift click, it orders every ship in your selection to move to that spot.
To battle station.
And it looks uglier, but in this particular case, it's going to help me out because I really need all of my ships to... I need all of my ships to engage properly. So let's actually...
Construction.
So these times I'm actually giving shift commands. So that was shift G for the Galaxy and shift K for the Akira to... Oops.
Course.
Shields.
All sections.
To... Ooh, I can get you.
Follow my lead.
Sensor scan.
All hands to battle station.
I'm switching to the Dominion Mixed Tech version, which I've unlocked.
Engage engines.
There we go. There's the cloak detect. Oh, they're getting away.
Redivert power to weapons. Fire all weapons.
Another feature that every faction has in tactical maneuvers is you have an intelligence scan from your starbase. This will ping all the cloaked ships on the minimap. So you can see there are actually still a couple around here. Ego repair. So this guy doesn't have the energy to scan again. Oh, and my other guy just died.
All hands
But
to
you
battle
can, if you think that you're about to be ambushed, or if the enemy is escaping and you need to know which way they went, you can use an intelligence scan, and that will tell you where they are. Now, it's worth noting, even though the Federation don't have a lot of special
Starship.
micromanagement going on, they are still a very micro-intensive race. And that's because, with their increased defense, they're very good. I'm going to buy supply here. Oh, by the way, these buttons are here, but they're not the same as the Dominion. The Federation have the ability to swap tritanium for dilithium, and vice versa. So, there we go. So I can make more dilithium by spending my tritanium, just like a trade center. I got distracted. Oh no. Shield restore into the yard. So you see that is Federation Micro. I have a mouse hotkey for Shift R, which is priority repair. I'm actually going to modify the game shortly, I've decided, so that all repairs are priority commands, so that when you give a repair command, if you then give another command, the ship will ignore that other command. Oh, please.
Alter course. Entering coordinates. That's
There we go.
Adjust heading.
Here we go again.
Crews stand ready. Bring engines to full.
So I'm just going to make it so that R is your repair command.
Enemy engaged.
Oh, they got away.
We read you.
Except for this guy who lost his crew.
Starship
And I can
construction
intelligence report.
commencing.
Yeah, they're all heading over here.
Standing by.
Federation Cloak Detect is not the best. Where was I?
Stand ready.
Oh, yes. So, as the...
We
Wait,
await
where
your
was I?
command.
Cloak detecting, upgrading, specials, warpins.
Crews
I have
standing by.
completely forgotten what I was saying.
Starship complete.
Well, I'm sure it'll come to me eventually.
We await your command. Adjusting coordinates.
So,
Starship complete.
for the command of the faction, yes. So the every faction has a command-like mechanic. The Borg have Bring Order to Chaos, which is a 50% rate of fire bonus for a single ship. The Dominion have Alpha Ketracel White, which is a 30% bonus, which kills crew and they have to use it every minute. Whereas the other three races all have Command. Command is just a flat 20% bonus to nearby ships. And the Galaxy and also each of the center warpins is a command ship. However, there's two levels of command for the Federation. There's Fleet Command, which does not affect battleships, and then there's Flagship Command, which does. And these ships all have Fleet Command. That means they provide the command bonus to the smaller ships, but they do not provide it to themselves. And then if you were to get Chassis Level 3 and build a Sovereign, it has Flagship Command, which means it provides a command bonus to all of your battleships, including itself. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get that.
Adjusting coordinates.
So now that I have my
Enemy engaged.
Dominion technology ships, I have the Galaxies, which have extra energy stores. They now do a bonus damage to stations, and they have the extra torpedoes.
Complete.
And then the Akiras have the
Armed and ready.
excessive strike ability, which launches 3 torpedoes at nearby
We
targets.
await your command.
Oh no. Oh, I remember what I was saying. I was talking about micro. Okay, so In this game, damaged ships can be repaired to full health at a yard for no cost.
Construction commencing.
And the Federation have high defense and also certain abilities like that that are very tanky. So a very big part of Federation gameplay is preserving your ships. Just looking down here at your ship list, or snagging a damaged ship, you see which ship the enemy is targeting. You grab it and you give it a repair order, and it goes back and repairs at the yard. And you do this constantly. And as long as you're doing this... Uh-oh, are the Klingons nearby? As long as you're doing this... Who's getting shot? You. Oh, the energy drain of the Breen torpedoes made it so I can't use my special. So I'm just going to pop the special now. Oh dear. I think I still win, but these Breen cruisers are very nasty. Yeah. Get out of here. Oh, there's more. Scan for cloaked. Are you recovering? Are you recovering? Yes, you are. So yes, a very big part of Federation gameplay is always sending your ships back to repair.
Research.
Because the Federation depends so much on having an overwhelming number of ships to just kill off the enemy instantly. We'll do a couple. Because they depend on that overwhelming thing, you really need to maintain your ship numbers the whole way. And unlike the Dominion need a lot of ships because they have a lot of the Dominion have a lot of forward-firing weapons, which means they're kind of bad at retreating if they are losing a fight. And then the Federation are, because all of their weapons are 360 degrees, they can shoot in any direction. They don't really have a hard time retreating, but also, I mean, more stuff counters less stuff, right? And the Federation absolutely want to have more stuff than the fleet that they're facing. And that's why, they have their cheap warpins, and they have all of these ships with their multi-targeting torpedoes and stuff. There we go, and now the last of our ships will be Dominion tech. And they have their relatively easy access to command bonuses, which are just always on for the fleet. I'm going to go ahead and give them... Yeah, we're actually just going to do a sensor upgrade. It's also worth noting the Federation have sensor upgrades, but they do not have engine upgrades. They are the only race that never gets engine upgrades. So some of their ships are just very fast. For example, the late game Defiant has 140 speed, and like the Remor. But because they don't have engine upgrades, they will, in the very late game, be slower than like Klingons and certain other factions. Well, I guess Klingons and Romulans a bit, and the Dominion are split. I forgot to mention this in that video. PureTech Dominion gets sensor upgrades, while Breen Dominion get engine upgrades. So that does mean that the enemy will be able to kind of dictate the pace of battle against the Federation a bit. But that's okay because the Federation just have chonky boys and long-range techs. So they'll win the battle that they show up to. More Steam Runners. These are also... The second warpin available, which requires chassis level 2, is the Steam Runner. The Steam Runner is an artillery ship which has a huge bonus against stations. It does triple damage to stations. So it's really just... You call these suckers in and you destroy their base. Come on, okay. And I really want a Sovereign. Okay. I really want a Sovereign so I can give the command bonus to all these galaxies. Uh-oh. Repair. Or, shield restored. So as we're going to see here, the Federation fleet would have been... Okay, you're just going to go back and repair. This Federation fleet would have been a lot weaker against these guys when there were not very many ships, and you can still see they're kind of spreading their firepower a bit, but their overall firepower is just really high. And so they are absolutely going to get kills on enemy ships over time. And yeah, there you go. The Steam Runners just killed that station by themselves. And an enemy Sovereign will not last very long against me. This is also an interesting... Oh. This is also an interesting side effect of multi-targeting ships. When you're fighting in the enemy base, there will be enemy stations around. And that means that your... Oh, this is a new Starbase. That means that your multi-targeting ships are actually going to... Where's my other scout? Your multi-targeting ships are going to send some of their attacks and enemy stations. So that's another disadvantage you could think of, because if you want to focus all your damage on the starbase or on the enemy fleet, well, some of your torpedoes are going to be shooting at the mining station as well. Uh-oh. Come on, once he gets 150, he'll recover. Oh, okay, I guess he doesn't recover his subsystems super fast under his special. Well, you're dead. Let's see, where's my sovereign? I want my sovereign. I really would rather have this command bonus before this fight.
Begin a sensor scan. Standing by.
The Defiant, or the, ooh, okay, there it is. I guess we're going. That's a lot. That is a lot. Excessive strike them. More excessive strike them. I think I still have quite a lot of firepower. Come on, get closer. And I can use Distortion Field, which jacks up the enemy engines. And so I think I'm actually going to annihilate them all because my fleet is just too chunky. But that was very scary, because they were getting bonus damage to medium range, which is all of my fleet.
Await your command.
However, my galaxies get bonus damage to long range, which was those Breen cruisers. So the galaxies were actually all doing extra damage against those Breen cruisers. And Breen cruisers, if it was a human playing, they would have flown them away from me and shot backwards and stuff.
And ready.
Okay, that was a Dominion fleet. There's some more. Kill them while they're cloaked.
Crew standing by. We await
Phew. Okay, now, yes, we have the Sovereign. The Sovereign is... it has 80 AI, so it takes reduced damage from medium range. Oh, look at that. It's also just a very strong ship, and it has flagship command, so it gives command to all of my stuff here. And it has the Distortion Field special, which disables engines on enemy ships, which basically means they can no longer escape you. So even though their speed might be higher than us, it doesn't matter if they can't move. Oh, and I actually have to buy supply again.
All sections stand by.
One more mechanic in tactical maneuvers is resistance. So every ship has a resistance value, and this is how it does against special weapons. So for example, the Excessive Strike does 70 damage, but it is special weapon damage, which means, let me grab, do we have any destroyers here? Destroyers have -1 resistance, which means they actually take more damage. Okay, it's a cruiser. They actually take more damage from special weapons than normal. And each level of resistance decreases the damage taken by 20%, and that stacks. So that means resistance 1, all battleships have 1 point of resistance. That means they're taking about 20% reduced damage. And then all stations have resistance 2, which is about 32% resistance, because the first 20 stacks in the next 20. The Federation Veteran bonus gives them +2 command. And actually... I forgot to mention, if you get a Veteran Galaxy, it gets flagship command. So actually, if you were just building this fleet regularly, you would never have to get your chassis level 3 and Sovereigns if you get a Veteran Galaxy, because all of a sudden it has the command ability for everything. But also it adds 2 resistance. So this Galaxy now has 3 resistance, which means it has something like 40% resistance to special weapons. So the Federation, and that also includes if your subsystems are disabled, resistance decreases the time that you spend disabled. So a ship with a high resistance value might only get stunned for 3 seconds instead of 6 seconds, or something like that. Oh, my steam runners got ambushed. So I'm going to intelligence report. See where they're going. Okay, they're still decloaked. That's why they didn't show up. I've got my scout nearby in case they try to run. Like that. Now. Oh, that might be too slow.
complete. Adjusting Adjusting coordinates.
That might be too slow because it takes 10 seconds before that ping goes off. Come on. Oh, I remembered at the last second. You can actually use distortion field on cloaked enemies. It won't reveal them, but you can disable their engines. I'm glad I remembered that at the last second. So yes, you saw the distortion field go off on all of them, and then the cloak detect ping. It detected the ones that were nearby, and then the AI decloaked a couple. So let's go back in. We really need to take out this player. And we really need more steam runners. And now we have a more upgraded Federation starbase. Oh, it's a fully upgraded starbase. And it has fighter craft. And because I do have a multi-targeting fleet, my fleet is not able to do full damage to one station. They're spreading it out over some other targets as well. That's just the cost of the ship type. But I also do have... Oh yeah, I had the shield regeneration on that guy. Let's send another one of these guys forward. You go repair. You guys join in and use your special that lets you fire faster for a second. Oh, you are actually... You don't have the energy. Let this guy through. There we go. And we have eliminated mostly the Federation opponent. So, this is a very effective standard build for the Federation. You basically... Oh wow, I even stopped building. You can start with... you go to chess level 2, you get Akuras and Galaxies, you get Dominion Mixed Tech and refit both of them to Dominion, which also gives you a sizable offense and defensive buff, +4 offense, +4 defense. And then you basically just, every time your ships get hurt, you send them back to repair, or, you can recover them. The hotkey for this is also F, so I can just F and it will do it. F to pay respects. So yes, just keeping your fleet going, building it up gradually, calling in your warpins, using defensive patterns or repair, and keeping ships alive until your fleet gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is the Federation way. And, my friend's doing pretty well here. And a lot of the Federation strategies will play kind of similar to this. If you were going Intrepids, you'd be doing the exact same thing. You would just have a faster fleet. Mason also has the Norway, which is a fast, small command ship, so you could have command for your Intrepids and Monsoons. If you were going Excelsior 2s, and for Risner you can get Phalanxes, which have a long-range AoE attack. So if you were doing Excelsior 2s or Phalanx, you would do the exact same thing. You would just move a bit slower, and you have longer range on your stuff. You could also just spam Sovereigns, honestly. Sovereigns are just a very strong ship. All of these command ships cost extra supply. So you notice the supply cost for these Galaxies and Sovereigns is very high. And the Federation actually do have to buy their supplies more than any other race. So, and every supply buy gets more expensive. So this is sort of a balancing mechanic for the Federation, who are otherwise just incredibly good at building a huge fleet. So, yeah, even though you have several... Oh, who's getting shot? Oh, you're okay. You do have several options. They all tend to be relatively similar in that you're always trying to build up a big Federation fleet and then roll over your enemy with superior technology and superior gun and shield technology. However, the variety of ships in the Federation arsenal means that there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. Like I said, you can go faster and you can go slower, you can go long range, short range, you can get pulse weapons and torpedo weapons, and the special weapons that are coming. There's actually going to be some more development in the future for Mason that's going to change his gameplay a little bit, where he's going to have an ability that lets all of his ships shoot long range torpedoes, and he'll just build a ball and then long range artillery strike people. So the part that is different between the strategies is the ships that you're building. The gameplay is always pretty effectively get more ships and kill the enemy, just in the variety that you like to use. Let's go ahead and call some more of these. I will go ahead and blow up this Seat of the Founders, and then I will sign out. I think at this point, yes, we have achieved enough. Use that artillery tri-loader. And boom.
Station is
They should have known better than to oppose the peace and prosperity of the Federation. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed playing Federation Faction. This is Triptych signing off.